Shout out to our sponsors, King Louie's Meat Apostle Barbecue Rub, Inkbird Thermometers, Rum Runners Barbecue, Butcher Barbecue and all their goodies, Springer Mountain Farms Chicken, the best charcoal out there, the Good Charcoal Company, the only Vortex drum, Hunsaker Drums. Now back to Brian, Brad, and the Bum.
Hello, Addicted to the Q world. Brad and Brian here. Tonight we have a special guest we've been looking forward to having. It is Harry Sue, Slap Yo Daddy BBQ. What the heck just happened? How's it going, Harry?
Can you hear me? I'm doing great.
I can hear you. Brian's muted for some reason.
Brian's muted.
I'm muted.
You muted yourself here.
Fix our views, Brad. Fix our views.
All right. I don't know what happened there. I hit the thing and it went. But anyways, how's it going, Harry?
Hey, we're doing great. Happy to be here on your live stream.
Thank you. Don't worry about it, Brad.
I think this one's pretty good. It actually works out better, I think. So what has been your three biggest barbecue adventures this year? You've traveled all over the world. What's been your top three this year?
Well, I think that my memory can only remember the last three anyway. So I'm glad you asked that question. I just got back from teaching the master class in Chicago for Weber. We had 100 students, and then I flew straight from Chicago into Fargo, North Dakota, to do the Shields Academy. So for those who may not be aware, Shields is a very large store. They have like 35 stores and 11,000 employees. So every once a year, I get invited together with another 20 or 30 top pitmasters to train about 100 employees in a kind of speed dating type format. And I had to come as a returning champion because I won the brisket throwdown last year with my team, and I also won the People's Choice. So this year I had to go back and try to defend my title. And there were actually 30 pitmasters this year instead of 20. So it was a grueling, day and a half trying to teach everyone how to cook competition brisket. They gave us a Snake River Farms Wagyu, and then they gave us a high choice. So in terms of the meat, there was no excuse of what we could do. And I'm very proud of my team. They did their best, but unfortunately, we didn't take top honors this year. And when we did the People's Choice, I made a tactical mistake because normally the People's Choice is you serve your food after you cook it to the 100 attendees, but then corporate, they invited 100 people from corporate over. And what I realized was during the award ceremony that all the top 5 teams were teams that served a cocktail, because after work you go to a barbecue event. What is the first thing you want? You don't want to eat brisket. You want to drink.
Yeah.
So next year I'll be doing a Bloody Mary with a Cornish hen or something, and that is a tactical mistake that I made. I'm a seasoned competitor, so I should have known better. I should have kind of like anticipated that 100 people from corporate to join the 100 students. Those folks from corporate just came after work around 6 o'clock. So, at 6 o'clock, what do you want to have? We want to have a drink.
Yep.
So the other teams were well prepared. So they all had their, margaritas and their Bloody Marys and their bourbons all ready. So the first thing you get is you get a drink and then you get some food. So stupid me, I'm just serving the food. There you go.
So this was an event that Shields does for like new employees coming in?
I think it's handpicked. So every year they pick 100 of the worthy employees, and they send them to a barbecue. Like an academy. They call it Shields University. They'll learn from bow, how to operate a bow hunting, to knives, to large pans. So Shields is a very unique company in the sense that they really invest in their employees.
Yeah.
And they provide them all the training. So when you go to a Shields store, and we don't have any on the West Coast, but when you go to a Shields store, you talk to anybody there, they are an expert in each of their departments. So if you go to, let's say, the toy department, the person there's a toy expert. You go to the hunting department, there's the guy's an expert, in the hunting department. So what is interesting is that they invite all these top people. Like they invited this year 30 pitmasters around the country, all the top ones. We all made a whole, journey to Fargo, North Dakota, And then we basically bring students under our wing and we train them to compete against the other team. So it's a really fun event. I really love events where I can pass on my, black belt tips to people who can in turn use them and educate the public when the public goes to the stores to purchase products.
So what you're saying is you love teaching these guys how to take one WSM to a competition, cook all 4 meats, and walk away at GC.
We try, and this year I use whatever pits they have. So my host was a company called Crawford Distribution. So they had the Halo grills. So Halo pellet cooker. So we used pellet cookers this year.
Yeah.
Tim Shear was there from Gateway. So we had a whole bunch of people from like Ray Buska from Butcher's Barbecue.
Yep.
So, who's who was there. So it was really fun to be able to kind of shoot the breeze, cook barbecue, and just have fun and realize that we're all joined by this crazy love of meat, fire, and smoke.
Yes.
So, speaking of Weber, how did you get hooked up to start with the class there in Weber, and how do you get signed up for that class?
You sign up by the website, and I think the class was something that Weber wanted to do every year. So my relationship with Weber goes back about maybe a dozen years. I was invited many years ago to teach the Weber classes in Chicago, and I train a lot of the Weber engineers. By noteworthy mention is that Eric Schlosser, the inventor of the Smoky Joe, the Weber Smoky Mountain, the B grades, he's a German engineer. So when I was there about a dozen years ago, he came out of retirement to meet me because he had heard that there's this guy from California that's winning dozens and dozens of awards using 1 or 2 Weber Smoky Mountains. So he came out to visit me, and he was that moment from the movie Star Wars, Father. So, he was as excited to meet me as I was to meet him. And I had the opportunity to even meet some of the Weber Steffen family members. So it was really an honor that I'm just a kind of a small-time pitmaster in California. But, the barbecue journey that I've taken is some days I just pinch myself that I am actually having this beautiful journey, meeting all these incredible people around the world.
Yeah.
So start us on, when you were first started competing, what made you decide, hey, I'm going to grab a WSM or 2, and that's what I'm going to show up to cook with?
I am an accidental pitmaster. I should not even be here sitting talking to you and all your viewers. I worked in IT. I built data centers for 30 plus years before I retired in 2022. And one of my project managers saw the movie called The Bucket List with Morgan Freeman and Jack Nicholson. And she came to work and said, hey, we're a bunch of IT nerds. We should do something with our life before we kick the bucket. And they looked at me and they said, Harry, you're a nerd. And you're the guy who always hides in the back office. We need to push your comfort zone and write you some bucket list stretch goals that will make you a little uncomfortable. So one of my stretch goals was to take a stand-up comedy class and do stand-up comedy. That would absolutely terrify me. And I used to cook barbecue and bring it to work because I went to Texas Tech. I was an international student 40 years ago, and I kind of experimented with barbecue, and I cooked barbecue, and I used to bring it to work, never imagining that barbecue is any good. But they said, why don't you enter barbecue contest as a stretch goal? And I just started. I thought, let me do one contest and get you off my back. So I ordered the smoker on Amazon. It came on Wednesday. On Friday, I went to a contest in Palm Springs, and just by total luck, I won it just like that. And that's how I also came with the funky name Slap Yo Daddy BBQ. Because you look at me and Slap Your Daddy, there's no correlation. But my coworkers wanted to have fun with my one-time only use team name. And I named my team name after the movie The Bucket List. But my coworker told me, hey, let's have some fun. Let's give you a name that you may not like, but just for fun. So apparently in the South, when you eat something you like, you want to slap somebody. Since I'm a daddy, they said, call it Slap Yo Daddy. And I thought, that is the stupidest name I can think on earth. But just to humor you, my coworkers, I put it on the application form and I went to the contest, and as they say, the rest is history.
Aren't you glad you entered that one contest and quit after that, right?
I was going to do one contest and quit after that, and then we won it. And then a few months later, somebody calls me on the phone in the middle of a contest saying, at around 12:25, just before my rib turned in a KCBS style contest. And the guy says, hi, you don't know who I am, but I'm a TV producer. my name is John Marcus, and I would like to put you on a TV show. So I said, yeah. And I just hung up on him because I thought it was one of my other competitors, right? Pranking me at 12:25, get me DQ for my rib entry. And then Sunday on the way home from Northern California back to SoCal, I looked at my phone and said, oh, gang, there was an actual phone call. I thought I was having a dream. And I responded, and I found out that that was a real offer. And I spoke to this gentleman named John Marcus. He's a producer, and he's done a lot of great TV shows and won many awards. And I went back to my workplace and scolded my coworkers. Look at what you guys did. Now you got me into this barbecue thing, and now some guy wants to put me on TV. And I had no idea that I would be on a reality TV show with 3 world champions. This is like you going on a basketball game with LeBron and Steph, right? Who wants to be on a reality show like that? And I went on the show not knowing who these people were. So I met Johnny Trigg, Myron Mixon, Tuffy Stone, Leanne Whippen, Jamie Gear from the Jambo Pits. So all these Illuminati of barbecue, and I'm just like the guy from California. So they kind of made fun of me and say, he's Harry who? Like Dr. Seuss. What does he know how to cook? He's from California. He knows how to cook tofu. So now, I have the last laugh because I have tofu on my rub bottles now. So he said recommended on tofu.
Hey, Brad knows me and tofu. My wife's vegetarian. I've cooked lots of tofu.
Yeah, I'm starting a new channel called Slap Yo Daddy. So I'm actually repurposing my season. Yeah, I mean, in barbecue, I always tell people, right? Don't be exclusive, be inclusive. Yeah. Include everyone in barbecue, and people have different styles. Some people like to cook over live fire. Some people like to cook low and slow. Some people like to grill vegetables. It's all good. If you are a good cook, you should be able to cook anything. So I've been actually doing a few of these, what I call vegan barbecue classes. I mean, when I make a atomic buffalo turd or a jalapeno popper, you can actually get the cream cheese that's vegan. You can get a little, smoky that is vegan, and you can make yourself a beautiful jalapeno popper just as good as the regular one with bacon and cream cheese. And your skill as a pitmaster you should be able to cook anything.
It shows you, if you go back to what you were just saying, the ABT, the Atomic Buffalo Turd. I'm not saying it shows our age of how old we may be, but that shows of when you first learned about the jalapeno popper that came out. It was dubbed the Atomic Buffalo Turd. I learned that 20-something years ago, and I still call it that today. And everyone's like, "What is that?" I'm like,
"Yeah, ABT's not something people know, but
it's a
jalapeno popper. And if you want to jazz it up, you make a Twinkie, a Texas Twinkie out of it. You make a big old like a Dutch egg style jalapeno popper. They call it Twinkie. See,
I put pulled pork in it, and I call it the Kansas Kryptonite.
Yeah, you make it your own. You can call it the Brian Kryptonite.
That's one thing we kind of do with this YouTube, was we're not afraid to try anything. We're like, this could be an epic fail. We'll find out.
Yeah, I have quite a few videos of me failing on my YouTube channel. For example, I do things like I try to fry a brisket.
Ooh.
Did it come out brisket, a whole packer, like a 16-pound packer. Just fry
How'd that come out?
It was a total disaster.
I imagine like all the fat in a volcano just.
Yeah, exploded. I mean, I was just lucky that I didn't start a grease fire.
Wow. I'm gonna go search for that one.
So take us through the first day. When you were on the barbecue trail starting, did you have a mentor or somebody that kind of took you under their wing?
I actually bought the book, John Willingham, Championship Barbecue. That was my very first book. And I have a quick story to tell you guys. So it's almost surreal. I couldn't make this up if I tried. So I read John Willingham's book, and he was my mentor. And I was trying to get to meet the man that got me started in the barbecue journey. So quite a few years ago, I was trying to get to meet him in person, and I found out my buddies in the Pacific Northwest Barbecue Association, PNWBA, in Seattle. They cooked on his team every year. So I reached out to my buds in PNWBA and said, "Can you score me a dishwashing gig on John Willingham's team? That way I can meet my mentor and the star, the person who actually got me started in competition barbecue," because I read his book before I did my one cook in Palm Springs. And I bought my airline ticket, got my rental car, got everything ready. And 2 days before I flew to Memphis for the Memphis in May, to be the dishwasher on the John Willingham team to meet my mentor. He died of natural causes. So I said, wow, what do I do now? I got all airline tickets. I bought my tickets. I'm ready to go. What do I do now? The man passed away. So, so I contacted my friends and they say, no. We talked to the family and they say, come over anyway, because, John would have loved to meet you and he may not be here, but the family's here. So I jumped on the plane. I went to Memphis and I went up to the area where they had set up the booth and I introduced myself to the family. And I cannot believe it when the whole family welcomed me like a long lost son. This unknown guy from California, because I was a fan of John's work. And I told them I am who I am because he was part of the journey and helped me get started. And then they told me something that completely floored me. They told, John's not here. That's his trailer over there. We want you to go in there and cook the rib entry for the John Willingham team. So almost, it's like one of those moments where you completely have a surreal experience that you went there to be a dishwasher on your mentor's team and he passes away and the family tells you, can you please go in there and channel John and do what you think he would do? It's like mind blowing. So I walked into his trailer in his energy and his presence and I asked myself, wow, what do I do now? It's like, I came here to wash dishes, but now they want me to put on the team as the main pitmaster. And I, look around and I saw all of John's product, his rubs and sauces. And I asked the family, what do you want me to do? I can try to, make something together with the rib entry. And they say, no, just trust your instinct, channel John's energy, and then mix and match all these different rubs. So I sat down and I mixed all these different things. And I made some 3 sauces. I call it cocktail napkin A, cocktail napkin B, and cocktail napkin C on actual cocktail napkin. And what happened was I let the family taste the 3 sauces. And they taste the sauce and they say they like sauce B, I think. And they told me, oh, by the way, John never sauces his ribs. And he's the world champion. So it's like, wow, what do I do now? But they told me, no, follow your instinct and just do what you think John would do. And I cooked the rib entry and I sauced it with the cocktail napkin B. And they had the highest finish in Memphis and May that year. So talk about a crazy, surreal experience. I couldn't make this up even if I tried. That's and then lo and behold, in 2 weeks, I'm flying to Memphis again because now I am a guest cook on the Willingham team. So Paul Holden is the new captain. Paul Holden is the son-in-law. So now he's taken over the John Willingham brand and he's running the team. So every year I get to go to Memphis and cook on the John Willingham team as an honorary pitmaster. So this year I'm doing exotic entry. And actually, one of the trips I went, John Paul saved the cocktail napkin. He showed me the cocktail napkin. I almost fell down because it's been so many years, 10, 15 years. He kept the cocktail napkin of the time I was there. So, I honestly cannot make this up even if I try. All these coincidences of my life, because I always tell people, when you cook with authenticity and sincerity and love, and you toss that boomerang of love out into the universe, it will come back and hit you on the side or head, way bigger than you possibly imagine. I'll give another very real example, which I could not even make up if I tried. When I was in Texas Tech, I used to love barbecue because my first week coming to Texas Tech to study computer engineering, I used to fly airplanes to Singapore Airlines. So I lost my job because of the oil crisis. I ended up in Texas Tech. My classmate took me out for barbecue. And I ate one bite of Texas brisket. And I said, oh my God, how can food taste so good? I need to learn how to cook it. And because I don't have a pedigree in cooking barbecue, it's not like my grandpa taught my pa taught me how to cook barbecue. I was just a computer student at Texas Tech. And I figured I can figure out how to crack the code for brisket. And I would cook meat with salt and pepper. I'll write the results down: salt, pepper, chili powder, result, salt, pepper, chili powder, sugar, result. So I build it like kind of a Lego block. All these different Lego blocks, I built something salty, something sweet, some chili, and some spices, right? And then guess what? In April of this year, I ended up being the first Lego pitmaster in the world because Lego contacted me 6 months ago and they said, we have 400 billion pieces of Lego in the world. 400 billion. That's 9 zeros, okay? And they said, we don't have a barbecue pitmaster Lego. Would you like to be it? And I thought, wait a minute here. There's 7,000 professional pitmasters and professional teams in America. Why did you contact me? So I didn't say that. I said, yeah. It was one of those moments just like the barbecue pitmaster show. Yeah. This must be a prank, right? So I kind of thought it was a prank. And then 3 months ago, they sent me a mock-up. And he's a real Lego figurine of me. So I say, it would look nice if I had my hat You look good. If I had a chicken, since I won the KCBS chicken, and lo and behold, they made the chicken. They made the hat, and I was completely blown away. And then on April the 8th, they asked me to do the grand opening of the Lego store in Costa Mesa, California. So I thought, well, I've never done a store opening with the Lego featuring me. So I went to the store and I was just amazed. People stood in line in the morning, right, before the store opened, so they could come in and buy as many of those things as they could.
Oh, yeah.
Because they're all collector's item now because there was a limited run.
Yeah.
So I only have one for myself now. I got one for myself.
That's awesome.
So it's like really crazy happening and crazy developments. I'm just so blessed that these crazy things are happening.
Oh no, it's and like Lego. I saw yours. I was like, man, I was looking over winter at how much it costs just for me to do a design for me and my kid, and I was like,
there's such a thing. Oh, you can make your own Legos?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I would have been the first pit master, not by them, just by me. But.
That works. Yeah. So yeah, because I was amazed that they're selling it for $30 a piece. It's like what? It's a plastic figurine. So I went to the Lego store and I saw all these little figurines in the store, and they said, "Would you believe it? We have $500,000 of plastic inventory in the store." And I could not believe. They showed me like a box of the Lego figurine. The box alone is like $6,000, because I thought to myself, wait, I sell a case of rub for $50-$60, and then the Lego box itself with the number of figurines, there are like 1,000 figurines in there for $30 a piece. That's $30,000 in a small little wood cardboard box.
It is. So and I've got a customer that collects them. Like yours, he'll buy yours, he'll sit on it for 10 years, and then he'll sell it for like 10 times the amount he paid for it.
Yeah, it's amazing that you don't need to do crypto now. You need to do Lego.
Lego.
I discovered a whole subculture of people who do nothing except collect Legos. And I saw some of the kids that came to the opening. The kids spent $1,000 buying these parts, and the parents willingly paid $1,000 because they said that this $1,000 will be $10,000 in a couple of years.
Yep. They also, certain Lego stores also, you can take the figurines in and trade them out for other figurines.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they also had used sets, like little baggies. Yeah. And the used set is $300. Previously played Legos for $300. I thought to myself, wow, what do I know about this whole subculture?
Wrong business.
Yeah. So now I have a lot of my pitmaster friends, they all want to buy the Lego. And I told them I'll try to get some from Lego and put on my website. So they want to get my Lego to put on their pit so that my mojo will watch over them when they cook and they compete. So I thought, wow, I never imagined that people wanted to do that. But a lot of people have contacted me. They want to get their hands on the Lego.
You should do a second run with Lego. Contact and be like, I want a 22.5-inch WSM with the brisket on it standing next to me.
Yeah, I have some of my business partner and sponsors. They want me to hold their product. Like my buddy Bob from Glue Gun, Glue Gun, Glue Blazer, who makes the glue gun. He says, "Can you make a 3D print one? I want one with you holding the glue gun, so I can add it as an incentive when people buy my Glue Blazer guns." So I thought, wow, this is a brand new world that I never imagined existed, that I stumbled onto.
It's wild, just the way the journey. See, I'm a Christian, so I do have the beliefs where he already has your stuff lined out for you. It's just your choice of, are you going to make the left turn or the right turn?
Yes, absolutely.
If you keep making the right turns, not direction-wise, but the correct turns, it's amazing what is lined up for you. Yeah, it's amazing. It's Yep. It's awesome just watching your path that you're on.
So speaking of another path, how often do you still do classes, and how often as far as cooking classes?
This is my 15th year doing classes. I try to do at least one a month because I like to kind of travel and do demos and trade shows. But I try to make it once a month. There's usually a wait list. And I have been doing this actually for 15 years in my backyard here in Diamond Bar. And it's really one of the best days of the month. I really enjoy, because in my class, it's basically a 0 to hero in 6 hours. So we do 25 items in 6 hours. So I teach you how to cook a brisket, ribs, St. Louis, baby backs, rib tips. I teach you how to cook pork butts. I teach you how to cook brisket, tri-tip. We even do a seared ahi tuna. We do SCA steaks. We do what do you call lamb lollipops. So we do atomic buffalo turds. We do Korean kalbi. So I'm one of those crazy people, right? That if you come to my class, I really want you to leave with everything I know. It's like a Vulcan mind meld. So over the years, because I have a seasoned crew, we've been able to teach 20 over items from scratch in 6 hours.
I got a question for you. This could be a trick question because you brought up the word steak.
Mm-hmm.
What do you put on your steak? A1 steak sauce, Heinz 57, compound butter, or ketchup?
None of the above. In my class, I teach a simple SCA steak module. I have a couple of my friends who are world champion steak cookers, and they actually are guest instructors in the SCA class. So I spun that off as SCA class for the hardcore SCA people who want to do the pins and then the marinades and then all the other stuff. For my class, I do a SCA steak. We do a simple marinade with Worcestershire.
Oh, nice.
And then I teach the students how to make a rub. We season it, we let it sit, then we do a reverse, we smoke and then we sear. And I teach them my Harry Sue 60-second, 600-degree method on the grill grates. And then and after we go through an extensive tasting module where I teach them how to layer on flavors, how to use different flavoring products, umami products, mushroom products, and so on. So I use the SCA as a foundation to teach what I call my tasting module. A lot of pitmasters and a lot of cooks don't understand that win or lose a contest, it happens in the last basically 30 seconds.
Oh, yeah.
When you eat the food, whether you're making spaghetti bolognese, you're making scrambled eggs, you're making fried rice, how you approach your last 30 seconds is the most important, where you adjust seasonings. How you get to the right flavor, you want to flavor the pop, and getting that fine tuning. So that's what I use the steak module as a catalyst, a foundation to teach that. And a lot of my students find that one of the most important modules in my class is how to make a ordinary, extraordinary food.
Yep. Do you do half chickens also in your class?
We do half chicken. We do my KCBS. A lot of competitors come to my school to want to know how I won first place KCBS chicken. So we do chicken thighs the old-fashioned way. I teach them the scrape and no scrape method, my 100-second secret method. And then we do a half chicken because I cook IBCA in Texas. I'm going to turn my phone. The sun is shining through here. I do a IBCH half chicken because I won a lot of IBCA type contests, Lone Star type Texas contests where you're required to turn in a half chicken. So I teach that also. So I teach basically many competition techniques, even though it's a backyard class. And
you butter bath your half chickens also? Or
we don't do the butter bath, but we do the wrap in the pan technique.
Okay.
Yeah. So the butter is kind of optional. I mentioned that, but I want to show them something that people will do at home. I try not to overdo the class because most of my students nowadays are more backyard people. Yeah. And a lot of backyard people, they want to cook the Costco rotisserie chicken. So we do the what I call Costco rotisserie chicken. We're cooking at 325 to 350, so the skin is crispy. You don't have to do all that crazy skin scraping or fat scraping method. But I do show the contrast between competition and backyard. So for example, like when you do a brisket, I'll show them first a backyard poker body trim first. And then once they are comfortable doing a poker body trim, then I'll go into the deep black belt of trying to do a competition brisket. And why? Because in a competition, you're not shooting for yield. You're shooting for basically to win with 7 slices and eight pieces of burnt end. So and you got a $300 Wagyu and you're cutting it up and you're chopping away $100 worth of meat and people wondering, are you crazy?
I mean, it is an expensive hobby. I mean,
yeah, it's an expensive hobby, and if you have a significant other, they may not understand why you just blew the budget for a Hawaii vacation on one weekend.
Oh yeah,
I cut mine in half. I cut my however much it was just a couple $100, and that means $1,000 or $200, a couple $100.
Yeah, well, your brisket's already I know what's running $250 to $300 for one of those Wagyu. Nice Wagyu ones. Yeah. So, and then if you don't bring home the BAT, the big ass trophies, right, or a check, you got a problem.
Yeah. Well, Brad and I, we kind of do some of this stuff at the American Royal because I help a friend of ours who helps do our podcast, Weekend Bum Barbecue. Mm-hmm. I help his team out at the American Royal. Brad comes out and we'll walk around Thursday, Friday, Saturday, talking to people, do some interviews. And one day Brad's just like, it's like $100 million in value out here.
I just started counting all the RVs at the Kansas Speedway. It's insane.
Yeah, I mean the American Royal is relatively low cost. I mean, unless you're running one of those corporate events where you have a big what do you call, like a huge, like a circus tent, and you're 300 people. When you do something like the Houston Livestock and Rodeo, like Memphis in May, is outside my price range. I think probably when I'm I'm going to cook, in a couple of weeks, they're probably spending $30,000 by the time you rent the bathroom, the restroom, the pay for the spot, pay for the what do you call, the tent and everything, pay for the facade. It's a 30 grand event. So for me, I'm just so blessed that many people invite me to be the ringer on the team, so I can go and cook and have fun at the Houston Livestock. I can go to American Royal. I can go to Memphis in May and just be the cook, and hopefully they get on stage.
Yeah. Well, if you're at American Royal this year, we're always back at turn 2. I'll have to come find you, or you come down there, and Irwin's Pit Crew, Weekend Bum Barbecue, Smoking Elvis's, and the A-Team. They do that big circus tent, and they put on a big party Friday night. So
yeah, it's a lot more fun. Kind of go hang out as kind of the helper, dishwasher, and then needs to schlep all your stuff to Kansas City.
Yep.
Yeah, I used to leave my driveway. I said like 6 a.m. on Wednesday. I go to Kansas City on Thursday night, 10 p.m. I compete Friday, Saturday. I drive home Sunday morning, get back to my driveway on Monday night, go to work on Tuesday. So I wore 16 men. So 16 men, their wives told them, "You're not going out with Harry anymore because you've gone out with Harry every single weekend." Total madness. I'm glad I'm kind of got that out of my system. I won all these awards, so my I bought all these trophies, so that's enough. I let other people win, so I have more joy now having people become successful because I was part of their journey. So to me, that sensation or that energy is so much, makes me happy doing that.
Yeah.
So how did you cook all your meats on 1 or 2 WSMs? Did you just time it?
I just cook 2 butts. My brisket goes on at 10 p.m. and then on the top shelf of the WSM 18, and then I put 2 butts at the bottom at around midnight. I wrap around 4:30. They come off at 7:30. I put them in a Cambro. I start my rib routine around 7:45. Then I start my chicken routine at 9:45. Easy peasy. No worries. I cook with one rib.
The big meats are gone by the time the little meats, the quick cooks go on.
Yeah. I mean, I even done one contest on what do you call a 14-inch.
I have seen. I saw the video.
So yeah, I mean, I did it not to prove anything, just for my own kind of my challenge myself, right? Yeah. Because I got to be a little bit complacent with the Weber Smoky Mountain 18. Then I say, I'm not getting the edge, because in life, right, you must be uncomfortable all the time. I have a philosophy in my life. When I go to sleep at night, I ask myself, was I uncomfortable during the day? If I was comfortable, that means I did not grow as a person. I did not become a person who was kinder, more loving, more patient, more respectful. If I go to bed at night being comfortable, I have to be uncomfortable every day, because only when you are uncomfortable are you learning, are you growing.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, we darn.
That is.
Darn. So I've kind of scrolled through a lot of your videos as it is. You do some good shish kebabs.
Yes.
How do they look so good when you're done cooking them? Because mine are not so yummy looking.
The key is a 2-stage process. So if you want to make them really good, what you need to do is cook them low and slow first.
Low and slow.
The final sear. Yeah, the final sear is the one that gives it the char. And then, I guess the key is to cooking the meat on a kebab throughout, all the way through.
Yeah.
So the trick is actually, if you're cooking steaks, I take my beef to about 110 before I put them onto the hot side to get the sear. And then a little bit of spray of canola oil or olive oil will allow you to flare, and then you get the flare, and then you get a pyrolysis of fats on your meats. Not so healthy, but I always try to distinguish low and slow and versus searing. Searing, I try to not do too much now. I'm getting older, so when you ingest all these burnt parts, not so healthy.
Yeah,
don't do it every day.
They still taste yummy though.
Yeah, there is something about the charred flavor. That's why a lot of teams cook on the can nowadays. The what do you call, like the drum UDSs. Yep. Because it's a direct cook, so you're basically getting the pyrolysis of amino acid, and you're also getting pyrolysis of oil. So oil drips under the fire, it sizzles, covers the meat, and that's winning in contest now.
Yep. Oh yeah.
In fact, Dim Shear cooked beside me. He won the brisket throwdown at that's just 2 days ago. in the Fargo, North Dakota. He cooked on his gateway drum, and he did the direct over the fire. So that char flavor on the brisket is the one that's winning. So if you have anybody watching or listening to this podcast, cooking on a can is the way to go if you're competing. The low and slow method doesn't work now. You're not gonna take walks with that.
Yeah, it's
Just
not 20 years ago.
Yeah, just get used to it. I mean, as you know, we always say in barbecue, it's like fashion, right? Some days it's short pants, some days it's long pants. So today we're going through the whole revival of what I call the direct over direct fire style of barbecue. That's winning contest. So I always tell people, don't fight it, go with the flow.
Yep.
Well, while we're on the subject of direct fire, and let's get into a little bit of live fire. You are developing or have developed a new grill called Primal Grills.
Yeah, again, it's another happy accident, just like, me starting up, barbecue is a complete accident. My buddy, John Falconberry, he is a well-known barbecue industry veteran, and he approached me and said, hey, Harry, I got a grill I'm making, and can you critique it? And I critiqued it, and I decided I really like the grill, but there were 17 things wrong with it because I'm a really picky kind of cook. And I told him things like, I don't like the way the door closes, doesn't feel like a Mercedes.
Yeah.
I didn't like the way it was too heavy to push in my backyard, so I want you to lighten it. So I gave him this long list of 17 items. I wrote in an email, sent it to him, not imagining he would do anything with it. Well, the man fixed everything. Okay, he worked with his engineers, and he fixed everything. And then I cook on the next prototype. I say, dang, this is the best live fire grills I've ever used. And I've used a lot of grills around the world. And he said, do you want one? I said, of course I want one. So he said, can you help me sell it? I said, yeah, sure. If you need me to help you sell it, I'll be more than happy to help you out. I work in IT, so I know how to do things like build websites and do that kind of IT stuff. So he said, can you handle some of that aspect of the thing? And say, yeah, sure, I'll do, to get a grill, sometimes you bend over backwards. So I'm having a lot of fun cooking on it, because at the end of the day, low and slow barbecue is great, but when you cook a brisket for 14 hours, it's not really very sexy. There's nothing much to see. You put the meat in, you close the lid, you adjust the intake, you watch the exhaust, and that's pretty much it. You spritz a couple of times, and that's it. But with live fire, you get to play with it. And I have to admit, I have a Neanderthal DNA. I am an inner pyromaniac. When I have fire, especially live, I feel happy. I just can't explain it. People who are listening to this podcast or watching this podcast will realize that you have to have an inner pyromaniac in you, where when you play with flames and you play with smoke and you play with meat, it makes you happy. I cannot explain that sensation, but you guys know what I'm talking about.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
I talk to other people, they have no idea. Harry, you're a crazy man. Why do you like to do stuff like that? No, I love to cook meat over fire.
Well, my brother out in Virginia, when we do a bonfire with all the trash and debris on his acreage, cutting it down, bring it up, we pile it up. I look at him. I'm like, bonfire tonight? He goes, yeah. I run to the store. I get like hot dogs. I get marshmallows, you name it. I'm like, kids are involved. I'm like, guys, I just love fire. I can stare at it, and I'll keep poking food into it just to eat all day, all night.
Yep. So we are, birds of a feather. A lot of people, they have no, appreciation of the energy and the adrenaline and the surge we get. Same with those people who saw the Lego, right? They were really like piranhas fighting each other to get these plastic figurines. I have no understanding of these people. I'm just there to shake hands and do selfies, But I learned that there is a subculture out there with people who are very energetic around these plastic figurines.
Yeah. World's most expensive plastic.
Yes.
I've heard a story of something on your bucket list, and are you getting anywhere closer to making it happen, which was grill a steak on lava or magma? Didn't I hear that was your goal?
Yeah,
to do?
I do a lot of these crazy things. I did one in Alaska with my friend Mike Bowles. He's the president of the Alaskan Barbecue Association. So I cooked a steak under the Northern Lights. I'm actually editing the video. I was editing the video before we got on the podcast. I went to try to see the eclipse, and I cooked a steak underneath the eclipse. So I flew to Tulsa because I couldn't get a flight to Austin. We were all sold out. So I flew to Tulsa, got a little rental pickup. I drove all over Arkansas, Texas, trying to find a clear in the cloud, because I was planning to go head down to Dallas to see my buddies there, and then see the eclipse and cook the steak under the eclipse. But Texas was completely cloud covered, so I ended up driving somewhere in Arkansas, some small town called Midland. where there's Jesus signs everywhere you go. So it was one of those places where deep in the Arkansas, deep mountains. Just why I got a 4-wheel drive. I figured if I had to get to the top of the mountain and watch the eclipse, that's what I'm going to do. I found a park in Midland. It's a tiny little, I think maybe 15 houses in that town. I went to the park and I whipped out my grill and I actually cooked the steak underneath during the eclipse. I saw the whole eclipse myself. And then after that, I fed the steak and the hot dogs to all the people around me. So it's pretty cool. I mean, it's definitely a bucket list experience.
I saw that video. I was watching. I was like, it's pretty cool because you even had your picture of the sun and the moon and all on there.
So I actually am forming a team. T-Roy Cooks. He's a good buddy of mine. He's now in New Mexico. He has a big YouTube channel. So he and I got together. We talked. We are going to see if we can round up some pitmasters because the next eclipse happens in, guess where? In Nome, Alaska. That's where they have the Iditarod. It happens in March of 2033. Okay, so now it's 2024 in about 9 years. So in 9 years, we told each other that we will try to stay alive in the next 9 years. And T-Roy and I are going to round up a bunch of people who are crazy like us, and we're going to go to Nome, Alaska. And we're going to cook the steak underneath that eclipse in 2033. So mark your calendars, Brian.
Yeah.
March 2033. You can join our crazy ass group of people going out to Nome, Alaska.
Yes.
And we're going to cook a steak. We're going to cook a chicken. We're going to cook anything we can find. And, it's going to be a crazy, crazy event.
I'm down. I'll bring that grill like you had. You just pull it out of the bag, fold it up real quick.
Yep, it's like a little iPad grill and folds up and cooks beautifully. You cook anything.
Well, that's one thing you can probably agree with especially with you and doing the YouTube. I think 90% of the viewers just like to see genuine cooking, good, wholesome barbecue shows.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because, my production quality is 0.
That's how ours is.
I shoot it on this thing in my cell phone. That's it. Yeah. There's no production quality. The editing also sucks big time because I'm the guy trying to stitch all the segments together. And
we have 136,000 subscribers, so I don't think you're hurting on anything.
I could tell you a quick story. About the YouTube channel was another happy accident. So I in one of my classes, one of my students, he ran a knife sharpening channel. His name is Ricky Tran from Perfection. He has got hundreds of thousands of followers. So he took my class and then he said, Harry, your knives are really, really bad. Let me teach you how to sharpen your knives. And I went to his home in California here, and then I brought all my dull knives to his home. And he says, do you mind if I turn on the camera? I say, what for? He said, I have a YouTube channel and I want to, film me teaching you how to sharpen knives. I said, who wants to watch 2 guys sharpening knives for 2 hours, right? Apparently 50,000 people watch us sharpen knives. So he said, Harry, why don't you just start to put your cooking videos online? I said, who wants to watch my cooking video? I don't know how to do videos. He said, well, you have this thing called the phone. Can you just shoot some footage and put it online and maybe people will watch it? So I said, who would want to watch me cook barbecue? And I started posting these videos, like really raw videos online. And now a couple of 100,000 subscribers. Totally insane, right? So it just tells you that I know nothing. The more I learn, the more I know nothing. From Legos to YouTube, I know nothing.
Well, that's like I did a video on TikTok, and it was me and just teaching my son to grill some hot dogs. We threw hot dogs on this little mini WSM, like the little tabletop version, like 25,000 views, and I'm like, and then I do something I think's incredible, and it gets like nothing, and I'm like, this is the weirdest thing.
Yeah, I mean, I always tell people just keep throwing that stuff on the internet, and you will never know what will happen. I mean. Simple things like I just noticed I had my students in Shields. They were pouring the beef stock onto the brisket, and I just posted it on TikTok. It's like thousands of viewers. I mean, people really like this kind of stuff. So I realized that rather than me trying to guess what they want, I'll just share with you my daily occurrences. What happens during the day? I'll just post it and see what happens. And apparently, people enjoy seeing that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's real life. They know that their lives aren't messed up quite as much as like mine if they get my full real life.
Yeah, and I show my mistakes. When I have a grease fire or my Weber catches on fire, I showed that. It's so funny. I was in Weber, and all the engineers were there last Saturday in the class, and then they came up to me and they showed me the new Weber pellet cooker called the Searwood.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And they asked me if I would be willing to play with it. I said, yeah, sure, And they didn't expect me to throw in 4 butts, 8 slabs of ribs onto the Searwood.
You had that loaded down.
I think you saw me post the video, right? I think I
Yep.
shocked the entire Weber engineering team. They're like, "Who is this idiot from California?" We asked him to test drive it, and he throws I don't know, like 60 pounds of meat onto this tiny little pit to see how it cooked, because that's what I do. I like to cook meat. So your pit is there. I'm gonna throw everything that I can find in the class into it.
Yeah.
If you want me to test it, I'm going to put it through the paces. I might as well test it if I'm going to test it.
Exactly. So I told them, all this meat, the raw meat from the class, I was paired with Tuffy. We made all these ribs and we made all these butts, right? So I figured, that's raw meat. So what am I going to do with raw meat? I'm going to cook it. And I see the sear fire behind me. I think I'm going to dump everything. And so as we were teaching the class, because we taught like kind of speed dating, different groups came in at the time since there was 100 students. So we took 20 or 15 students time. So each group came in. Tuffy and I did our class, and then after that, the raw meat sitting on the table. I have to reset for the next class. So I took all the meat and started dumping it into the Searwood, and then by the end of the class, it was piled high. I think you saw the video of all the meat that was there. Yep. And the head of engineering is there. Said, "What is the matter with this guy? What are you doing to our Searwood?"
We're only gonna dirty one smoker. Don't worry.
Yeah. So I told him, I'm cooking all the meat. So at the end of the day, after class is over, you can chop it up and give it to all the employees, and they can take it home for dinner.
Yeah, that's awesome.
No need to waste good meat.
We should sign up for that next week.
What kind of desserts have you done?
Desserts is not my specialty. I've done, the normal cheesecake on the pit. We've done a little bit of mascarpone cheese. I've done some what do you call those things? The caramel sauces on the pit. I have a blood issue problem, so I'm not supposed to eat sugar. So,
yeah.
I try not to eat too many desserts, But I enjoy grilling fruit. Actually, fruit's really good. When you have, I am in California, we have this fruit in season. Grilling things like pineapple, grilling things like peaches. They are absolutely awesome.
I do that. I'm trying to do the ice cream. We talked a little bit off air. You were talking about like the how to like infuse whiskey and stuff with smoke, with the little smoke, and I'm going to try that with some ice cream. See if that can work.
Yeah,
out.
you can actually have the liquid, your ice cream mix, and then put it in a pit, and then leave it on a shallow pan and smoke it, and get some smoke in it. You can get the smoke gun, and you have the tube into a dome, putting over your thing, and then you can infuse it with smoke. You can actually take wood chips on a foil, and you can heat it up, and then you can use it to smoke in a kitchen. So like a covered dome, like a wok style. So there's many ways to get smoke. And then if you want to cheat, you just put a couple of drops of the liquid smoke, work just as well.
No,
nobody will know. I won't tell if you won't tell. Just maybe a half a teaspoon of liquid smoke into your ice cream mixture before you put it in the churner, and you will have smoky thing. You can say that I've been slaving it out in the pit for the past 8 hours, enjoying my smoked ice cream.
Awesome. We got a guy here, one of our viewers, said to ask you about tri-tip. I'm not sure what he's wanting to know, but if you could give some tips on tri-tip, cooking, slicing.
The tri-tip is just a very nice cut of beef towards the groin area of a cow. A cow has a left tri-tip and a right tri-tip, and it's true that the left tri-tip is more tender. I'm just kidding.
Well, they say that about brisket.
Yeah, I mean, that's another 3-hour argument in Jerry Springer fist fight. That's true for barbecue, right? If you say something online, because every morning when I get on my channel, the first thing I need to do is respond to all the trolls, right? People will never say things in front of me, but over a keyboard and anonymous identity, you can get the most amazing comments. I had just one tell me that, Harry, you're a fake pitmaster. Just because you wear a cowboy hat doesn't make you a pitmaster. And oh, by the way, your brisket looks like the anus of my dog before my dog poops, right? So,
oh my God.
What can you do? I mean, what can you do? They're out there, and you just have to deal with it. I've been doing, troll management for 15 years.
Darren Worth said it best. The internet trolls are bad because they're not in front of a person to get punched in the face if they say something.
I mean, I know people who meet me in person, they will not say that to me, but I for some reason, just a Jekyll and Hyde syndrome of people, when they are behind the keyboard and you don't know who they are, their inner kind of devil comes out. And I just have to chalk it up that, hey, it is humanity. These are my fellow Homo sapiens, and we have 8 billion of us on this planet.
Yeah.
And I have been, trying to preach that we all need to be kind. We all need to have a little bit more respect for each other. And it begins with me. So if somebody disrespects me, even though my lizard brain wants to say something unkind, I always tell myself, Harry, before you answer a troll, ask yourself 3 questions. Number 1, is what I'm going to say necessary? Number 2, is what I'm going to say true? And number 3, if what I'm going to say is kind. If it doesn't pass these 3 tests, then I will not hit the enter button. I will backspace because I wrote something that is not kind, that is not necessary. Because my Jiminy Cricket has to kick in. I tell people everybody should have a Jiminy Cricket.
Yeah.
I used to be a lot worse than I am. I don't know how many times I type things out now, and I'm like, no, I don't want to do that.
Yeah. Before you hit the enter key, take a deep breath. And if it's bad, take 3 deep breaths and ask yourself the question: is it true? Is it necessary? Is it kind? If it doesn't meet this test, then don't send it. And that will singularly save you a lot of grief in your life. You also, more importantly, eliminate your spreading of bad karma. Because you are today what you did yesterday, you will be tomorrow what you do today. So it's very, very important to have your wits about you, to not do the wrong thing. Always be inclusive. Do not be exclusive. That is the message that I learned through barbecue, and I'm trying to.
That is a good thing. We get a lot of good comments, but every once in a while, somebody likes to just, for some reason, it doesn't matter. It could be the nicest video you ever made, and they just like to just start stuff.
Yeah, we'll let them know that they need to keep all the fat on the ribs, all the silver skin, and just cook them that way.
I teach my students, right, when you take my class, and if you go on Amazon, there's 10,000 books on barbecue.
Oh, yeah.
And there's 7,000 professional teams. So when you come to my barbecue school, you only learn 1 out of 17,000 ways to cook barbecue. Yep. There's 16,999 other ways to cook barbecue. So when you leave my class, please be humble. Please have humility. You only learn 1 method. So if somebody comes up to you and say, hey, Brad, I cook the best ribs in the world. And you say, wow, how do you cook your best ribs in the world? Well, I boil them first. And I throw them on the kettle, and I char them until they're burned, and I slosh on my Walmart craft barbecue sauce.
Yeah.
Your response is to resist the lizard brain within you that's swelling up. Because you are my student, I've taught you to have humility. Ask the person, Brian, Brad, what did you do with the rib? If Brian and Brad say, I use it to spread love, your job is to eat it. And you're going to say, wow, that's an interesting way to cook rib. And it's pretty good tasting. Thank you for sharing your love with me. That should be your response, not your lizard brain response.
We had a guy, and I don't know if it was my Facebook group or Brad's Facebook group, but he just learning raw, like brand new to the whole industry of barbecue, asked about fat cap. And it was, I think there was 1 bad comment. We deleted it, but it was hundreds of other comments. We were all just asking, what are you cooking on? There's different methods to it, different reasons of why you should go fat cap up, fat cap down. I mean, hundreds of people just trying to give them insight, saying it's your way. None of these ways are wrong.
There is no wrong way.
Just trying to give you helpful tips of pushing it forward to where it's going to be better for you.
The key is to ask the question. The key question to ask people is that, what brings you most joy?
Yeah.
And that is the key question I've learned in my years teaching barbecue and spreading barbecue love, is that what gives you most joy? If you want to boil your ribs and then you want to char them until they're burned and you want to slosh them in the craft sauce, don't follow my method. Keep doing what you're doing, because that is your legacy. That's your tradition. That's your culture. That's your method. It could be that invokes memories of your father before he passed away. And that's how he cooked ribs. And you grew up as a kid. That was the flavor and the smell and the odor and the energy you felt. So don't change. Keep doing that, and then teach your kids how you cook barbecue, because that's a tradition you want to pass on, because it's about memories, it's about love, it's about basically understanding that it gives you joy. And joy should be something nobody should be deprived of. If you're doing something that gives you joy, you're not hurting anybody, you're not hurting yourself. Keep doing it. Cook your brisket fat down if that's the way you like it.
Well, that's like people, how do I cook, ribs? I said, well, what do you have? Well, I don't have a smoker. Do you have an oven? Yeah. Well, here's what you can do to still make good ribs in the oven. I always say you can make good food on anything you own, whether it's a gas grill, whether it's an oven, whether it's a crock pot. There's ways to do things. You just have to know how to do it. So I always say the best thing to cook on is something you're most comfortable with.
I always get asked a question like, what's my favorite way to cook ribs? And I will tell them it's not the way I show on YouTube and the way I compete. When I cook ribs, I would just cut it into single bone. I would put some salt, pepper, and garlic powder, and I grill it over the grill, live fire. And we would pico de gallo and a squeeze of lime. That's my way of eating rib. And I would never be able to win a contest with that rib. But if I'm at home and I'm cooking for myself, that's what I would do. So I always tell people, just do it your way and just have joy cooking it the way you want.
That's like 90% of what I like is actually not comp style. I mean, if I'm cooking in my backyard, I did a slab of ribs. I actually did a YouTube video on it, just a backyard style. I forgot how good plain old baby back ribs are, just cooked backyard style. I'm like, I forgot how good this is without filling it with injections and MSGs and sugar and sweet sugar and barbecue sauce.
One of the things I teach my students is that when I teach the pork butt module, I say one of the things they should do before they die is take a pork butt frozen from the freezer, completely rock solid, rock hard, put it into a low temperature pit like a 225 pit, and let it cook until the pork butt is done. No wrapping, no seasoning, nothing. Just smoke and thyme and the butt, and taste the butt at the end. You'll be amazed how good the pork tastes. It's naturally salty, it's naturally juicy, and full of flavor. And if you never tried that, Brad and Brian, do it as a Harry Sue's recommendation from Homewood. Cook a frozen rock solid pork butt from the freezer. Take off the wrapper.
That might go.
Cook it this low and slow, and in about 8 to 10 hours, you will taste something completely magical. It's just an animal cooked to perfection. No seasoning, nothing.
When I do that, I'm going to tag you.
Yeah, just tag me as Slap Yo Daddy BBQ. Say, doing Harry Sue's homework assignment, cooking a pork butt completely unseasoned, no wrap, no injection, no nothing, in the pit, low temperature, from a frozen solid block from the freezer.
Can I cut the money muscle off, though, and then refreeze it first?
Do what gives you joy, Brian.
Well, what? So we had a question. Other than brisket, pork butt, ribs, and chicken, what is your favorite smoked protein?
Favorite smoked protein is the one I didn't have yesterday. Okay. I enjoy any creature from land, sea, or air. That's how I would say any protein from land, sea, or air. You catch it, I'll cook it. That's how I like. I taught a class in Mexico, and it was in Culiacan, and my students brought in some seafood that they had caught in the ocean. So they brought in giant tennis-sized scallops. They brought in a big slab of tuna. They brought in some ginormous shrimp the size of my palm. And even though I was teaching a barbecue class in Culiacan, I cooked that for the students. I made a chimichurri glaze, and then we got barbecued it, we grilled it. They had so much fun with the grills class. They think they're going to invite me back, and they Harry, you are a barbecue pit master. Let's do a seafood class. So they suggested that they take me fishing in the ocean. We catch the marlin and the wahoo and bring it back, and I'll do a class from the catch of the ocean. I thought, how cool is that? Do a class based on what you can catch. So I have a new moniker now. I say, you catch, I'll cook.
That's cool. That is cool.
So I have another quick question, and then it's probably going to be about time to let you go. So I saw somewhere that your Rubs and Jealous Devil, like charcoal, were teaming up, or how is that going? Was it at Home Depot or Lowe's?
Yeah, it's actually being sold in Home Depot. Another happy accident. I was asked to help my buddy John Falconberry, who is the guy who started the Primal Grill. He was working for Jealous Devil. He said, Harry, I need help. I'm doing a trade show in Dallas. Can you help me serve the public? So I flew out to Dallas and I cooked the demo for them. And they had Jealous Devil charcoal. I had a little bit of equipment and I was cooking food. And my signature is when I do demos, I like to do grilled grapes. It's kind of weird, right? But grilled grapes are absolutely fantastic because the heat caramelizes the sugars, and then with the rub on top of it and a little bit of extra virgin olive oil, the grapes are actually bursting in flavor. So when you go to a trade show, just as a tip for you guys, if you ever do a trade show, everybody serves meat. It's really boring. And then the women have nothing to eat. So at that trade show, I just did grilled grapes, and I had almost like a line at my booth. And then the Jealous Devil owners heard about it because they were in there doing the demos. I was out cooking the food for the people who were in the parking lot. And they came out and say, "What's all this commotion with this guy?" And I introduced myself and say, "Hey, John invited me. I'm your pit master. I'm cooking on Jealous Devil charcoal, and I'm making all these products, food for the public." And there was a long line. Everybody was getting a lot of exposure on the brand. So they tasted the food and they say, "Wow, this is really good. Do you mind kind of collaborating with us to put the rub out?" So I said, "Yeah, why not? I mean, I don't have any major private label partner, so I did the rub, and then we did the design, and I called it my love line, and then we did the the cartoon of it. They had a whole design team that was much smarter than I could, and we launched the product. And a couple of years ago, I actually was invited by Jealous Devil to help them snare a deal with Home Depot. They needed a pit master to cook a hog, and they wanted to cook on a Home Depot cinder block. So I do a design for a 5x3 cinder block pit, and I gave it to them. And then they had people from the technician of Home Depot build it in a parking lot in the Mandalay Bay. What I didn't know that was the annual Home Depot conference where 5,000 managers would be invited. And Jealous Devil was picked as one of the premier companies to be able to showcase a demo booth there. So I went there, sight unseen, had no idea what I was doing, and I cooked 2 hogs over 2 days on that Home Depot cinder block pit with a plywood cover. And I didn't know that some of the people who came to eat it were the CEOs and the head of purchasing for Home Depot. And then after that, they ate the hog. Jealous Devil got the contract with Home Depot to go to 2,400 stores.
Wow.
And then nothing happened. Awesome. Then it was quiet for 2 years after that. So I thought, okay, I helped the guys get the deal. Nothing happened. Then last December, I get this urgent email saying, "Hey, we need to put your rub into Home Depot." I say, "What?" I say, "You already have my rub." I say, "No, we don't want your 12-ounce rub. Home Depot wants a 10-ounce rub." So if you guys have never made a rub before, changing the bottle is not something trivial.
Yeah.
There's a whole slew of issues with the label, the bottle, the co-packer, the nutritionals, the size of the font, and just a whole nightmare of detail. So they told me, "No, we want it yesterday." 10-ounce bottle. So I scrambled with my business manager, Joel. We scrambled and we were able to get it into a 10-ounce, and then it ended up in Home Depot in 50 test stores. And I just got an email, I think 2 weeks ago, saying now it's being expanded to 100. So in the midst of trying to teach all these classes, I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to scale up to 100 stores. And I'm just like a government retiree. I retired from a government job on a pension. So I'm not like awash in cash. I can't afford to, go blow $250,000 on inventory. I have to, mortgage my home. So I have a new set of problems now that I have to deal with. But these are good problems to have. So I'm so fortunate that that little boomerang of love that I helped them with has come full circle now. There's a possibility of Home Depot even carrying my products now. So I'm just so fortunate and blessed that in life, right, it's all about love, relationships, and memories. Never buy things, buy memories. And I think that is the message that I learned, is that what that goes around comes around. That is so true. In barbecue, I went into barbecue completely by accident because most of my barbecue is for philanthropy. So a lot of the proceeds are donated to charity. I support Operation Homefront. I support Save the Children Foundation. I serve Operation Barbecue Relief. So for me, barbecue is a way to give back to the world. I have a small government pension. I'm happy, as a pensioner, but I do barbecue because I think that we all have a duty to give back to the world.
Yep,
that's in life, right? I live my life with 4 guiding principles. Number 1, do what you love, do what you're good at, do what the world needs, and do what you can do to make a living. So if you can follow those 4 guidelines or 4 pillars of life, you will be a happy person. Because life is not about you. Life is about you making a difference in other people's lives. And more people should subscribe to that concept.
Oh, definitely. Well, if you ever make it to Kansas City again, and hit the American Royal, and you happen to have a Primal Grill that falls off your car.
Well, no, I mean,
let
I
my
offered
wife
you,
know.
Brad. I have the grills in my backyard. So anytime you guys want to cook, just jump on a plane, come out here, and cook on it. Be happy to cook with you here, right here in my backyard.
Definitely.
I think that John told me the grills are arriving in June because they got held up because of the pirates. The pirates is it Houthis, the Houthi pirates, somewhere in Africa. They are attacking the ships, right? So the ship got has to go around the Africa. They can't go to the Suez Canal anymore because of the pirates. So
they have to put
the
razor
whole
wire around the ships. They have water cannons now, just everything to try to keep pirates.
Yeah,
away
it's pretty
from
crazy that I never imagined that living in America, cooking barbecue, I would be affected by world events, right? But apparently the shipment coming was delayed because of that. And the ship has to sail around Africa now, cannot go through the Suez Canal because of the pirates.
Wow.
So that's like my learnings. Like I did not know that I would be subject to world pirate situations, but somehow when you get into new areas, every day is a surprise.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, so he's coming. He's coming in June, so we have a lot of pre-orders. People are trying to buy it. I think John's gonna only make 200, so that's not a lot of grills. So they're gonna go fast. So if you want one, you better jump on quickly. And then also, I told John, when you get a grill, I want everything with it. So you're gonna get $800 worth of doodad. You get the charcoal, you get the grill gun, you get the thermal pan. So all my business partners over the years that I have been part of, they all jumped on to help out. You're gonna get the whole thing you need. Even you're gonna get beef from Hassel Cattle Company in Texas. You're gonna get Wagyu beef also. So I told him, give the $800 away and also include me. I'm your mechanic. You buy the car, you get Harry Sue for 6 months for free. So if you have any problem with the grill, I'm going to be there on Zoom, on my phone, telling you, okay, here's how you fix the problem. So you get free consulting with the grill. So I want it to be something unique because I really like the grill myself. And I think that people, once they cook on it, they will love it. We had the world champion Air Force team who won the World Food Championship live fire cooking in Dallas. They cooked on it in Arkansas 2 weeks ago. They loved it. I had my buddy, Louis from Real Smoke. He won the World Food Championship Barbecue Championship. He cooked on that primal grill. He wants to buy one now. So and his sous chef who owns the restaurant wants to get one. So everybody's kind of lining up. And I told John, hey, we only have 200. We're not making 20,000 of those grills. All Harry do is save one for me.
Yeah. Well, I guarantee those are going to go fast.
Soon. Yeah, it's already coming up to May, right? So in about a month or so, he's going to arrive, and then I think he's going to go fast.
Yeah, you guys are going to be placing another order on it for sure.
Yeah, I told John, hey, you better start placing the order now because we probably going to sell out of the first batch. I think that we only have the first batch is 40 units in a container on some ship somewhere sailing in the ocean. I hope he makes it. If the pirates get it, c'est la vie.
Yeah, well, I mean, just the Harry Sue warranty alone is going to help sell.
Yeah, how often do you buy a product where the mechanic, the pitmaster comes with the product for 6 months?
Yeah.
I mean, come on, nobody does that. And if it's close to me in LA, I'll just even come to your home and assemble it for you.
Oh wait, that's even better.
Yeah, if you're near John lives in Arkansas, so he said that anybody within driving distance of his place, he will actually deliver it and actually assemble it for you.
Oh, there you go, Brian.
Yeah, I mean, and plus $800 with the doodads on top of that for free.
That's awesome.
So you can tell your significant other, your CFO, that Harry Sue will also raise your purchase over the phone, and I can't guarantee what will happen to you after I put the phone down. But I'm more than really happy to validate that.
Oh, it's okay.
I did authorize
you sleeping with it outside.
You might need to fire it up in the wintertime for some warmth because you won't be inside.
I'll put it in the shed out back.
Well, it's designed to be outdoors, right? So it's a 304 marine stainless 3mm because I insisted it be marine grade. And awesome. If you're afraid of stainless steel, there's many kinds of stainless steel, but the 304 marine grade will not rust. So you can park it out in the humid swamp and it will last you several generations. So I told him, no compromise. Like I told you about even how the door closes. I want it closed like a Mercedes, and they changed the hinge to a ball bearing block. They changed the angle, the hinge, so that there was an air gap at the bottom, so that the air gap the air could go into a draft. So I wanted it to draft like an offset. So these are things that you will never see in the sales literature, but because it's in my pet project, I made sure that it's perfect. Just like even the grades, they originally came in the V grade. So the V grade wasn't getting me the sear that I like. So my friend Brad makes the grill grades. I wanted to sear like a grill grade 5mm sear SCA standard, exactly 20mm apart. So I redesigned the V grade into a J grade. And after the attorney saw it, they say, wow, that's an amazing invention. It creates that same sear, SCA standard sear. So now it's being patented. So I thought like, wow, like, oh, wow. Who could imagine that my cocktail napkin, actually, I have a cocktail napkin here somewhere. I'll show it to you here. So here's the cocktail napkin, the actual one. I don't know if you can see that. You can't see that, right? I can see. Turn off the light. Can you see that?
Yep.
That was the actual cocktail napkin. I wrote it on cocktail napkin. Now it's a patent. So talk about I can't make this up even if I try. This is proof of that. The little cocktail napkin ends up to be a patent. So I always tell people the reason I'm on this journey is because I want to encourage other people to be uncomfortable. Remember, Harry Sue taught you, if you are comfortable when you go to sleep at night, you wasted the day. Yep. You gotta be uncomfortable, because if you're not uncomfortable, you're not growing. You're not growing as a person. You're not growing as an employee. You're not growing as a human being. You're not growing as a father, mother, sister, brother. You're not growing. So every day, try to be uncomfortable.
Yeah.
It's a great life motto.
It is. I mean, that goes along with, like, I have a barbecue rub line, and it kind of goes with that. I mean, we're sending product out this year for 2 new flavors that we're coming out with, but it's the whole feedback. You want the feedback because you need to know what you might have to change with it to where the public's going to buy it. But there's people that won't handle the feedback, and that's the uncomfortable part. Be uncomfortable, because that's the only way you grow.
Yeah, I listen to people when they tell you things, right? Like I hated putting my mugshot onto the bottle, but I have friends who build Coca-Cola, Pepsi. They said, no, you put your mugshot on the bottle, because that's the last thing I want on the bottle. This is why I had all these cartoon characters, but I did it, and as they say, the rest is history. Even like Jealous Devil, I didn't want my mugshot on the bottle. I would just say, why don't you just say JD, Jealous Devil Love Rub? No, they say no. Put your mugshot on it. So my mugshot ends up on the bottle.
That's awesome. Brad, you can put your mugshot on a bottle?
No. I want to sell some.
I just came back from a class in Panama, and I'll tell you a very embarrassing story. So we're driving down the freeway from the hotel to the class site. And we are on the freeway, and I noticed that there was a big building coming up, like the size of a barn. And there was a picture 10 by 10 foot of somebody's headshot on the side of the barn. As we get closer, I realized that's a picture of me facing the freeway. 10 foot by 10 foot poster. He's like, what is that big? When I sent you the artwork, I did not imagine you were going to make a 10 foot by 10 foot poster and plaster it on the side of a building. That is so embarrassing. And it's by the freeway in Panama. Everybody driving on the freeway can see who's the idiot on the side of the building. So I did the class, and then after class, they told me, would you like to sign the picture, the poster, right? I said, yeah, sure, I'll sign it. Next thing I know, my 40 students signed all over the poster, and then the owner of the building said, oh, by the way, I'm putting this in my restaurant, so I'm going to mount it right in the restaurant as you come in the restaurant. So now that mugshot of me will be in the restaurant forever. It's like, oh my God, so embarrassing. The next time I need to ask questions, please do not put mugshots of me out on the side of the building.
How big is this picture going to be when you're going to upload it?
It's the size of a 10 by 10 pop-up, that square. They had a mugshot of me, So it's like, wow. It's like, oh gosh, I mean, I'm very super embarrassed, So now I don't know what to do. Now he's got all these autographs on it. It's going to sit in a barbecue restaurant in Panama.
That's awesome, though.
That's great. I want a big mugshot of me like that.
You go right ahead.
It's good for you. Go find, make a 10 by 10 of yourself. It's like I want to live a low key life. I just do enough to spread barbecue love. That's it. Don't spread it with my mugshot, please. Just take the message with you and run with the message.
Yeah,
that's awesome. Well, Brian, do you have anything else for him before I let him?
Do you still do comps? If you do, do you have any sponsors you want to give a shout out to or anything like that?
I work with a lot of partners, things like Thermal Works, Jealous Devil, Hassel Cattle, a little bit of Weber, Green Mountain Grill. So I have so many friends that I help them start their journey. Like I started my journey in barbecue same time as Jason Baker from GMG. So I've seen all my friends grow, and I have also tried to grow together with them. And I want to pass a message that in the barbecue community, we are all brothers and sisters. We may be competitors, but when the competition is over, we are good friends. We may have products that we sell that we are competitors, but at the end of the day, we respect each other. We help each other further our life journey. That's so important in the cutthroat world we live in, that always be inclusive. Do not be exclusive. And that applies to everything.
Awesome. That is awesome. Harry, we really appreciate you coming on and giving us your time. It's very valuable information that I know I've heard, Brad's heard, our viewers have heard. We thank you very, very much.
Yes. Always a pleasure, guys. Anytime.
Hey, hope to see you up in KC and at the Royal this year.
Hope to do that too.
Sounds great. Thanks, Harry.
Thanks.
Thank you.